All right. Welcome back to Vuln Vibes, everybody. We're diving into some, well, honestly, kind of unsettling stuff today.
Yeah, no kidding.
PHP, which I think we can all agree is, kind of the workhorse of the web.
Oh, for sure.
It's been hit with a whole wave of security vulnerabilities. And look, we know you guys, our listeners, you're deep in the trenches of IT security. You live and breathe IMITRE, ATT, and CK, kill chains, 0 days, all that jazz. So we're going to skip the 101 today.
Yeah, straight to the good stuff.
We're going deep on the trends these vulnerabilities reveal about PHP security. What are the big takeaways here? What should we as security pros be watching out for? What's got you, I guess, the most concerned looking at all this?
Well, honestly, the thing that really jumps out is just how many of these vulnerabilities all seem to cluster around the same area, PHP's HTTP stream wrapper.
Okay, so for folks who maybe haven't gone super deep on the inner workings of PHP, what is the stream wrapper? What does it do? Why is it so important?
So basically, it's this component that handles how PHP accesses files using URLs. Seems simple enough, right? But when you think about all the ways web applications rely on that functionality, it suddenly becomes a much bigger deal, and we're seeing that now with how it's being exploited.
Yeah, we've got a perfect example of that with CVE 2025-1861, right? This one really zeroes in on that 2024 byte limit for redirect locations.
Yeah, exactly. At first glance, you might think, okay, 24 bytes, that's got to be enough for a redirect,
I
right?
would think so, yeah.
But the thing is, a lot of applications use redirects for really crucial stuff like authentication flows, user journeys, all sorts of things. And that 1024 byte limit, it's way less than what's actually recommended, like 8,000 bytes.
Oh, okay.
So suddenly, attackers have this opening to manipulate those redirect locations. They can send users to malicious websites, potentially even cause a denial of service attack on the original server.
So it's like this tiny little technical detail that can have huge ripple effects.
Exactly. And it highlights this bigger issue, right? Blindly relying on default configurations without really understanding the potential consequences. Developers really need to be proactive about reviewing and customizing those settings.
All right, so let's move on to our next trend here. We're talking about HTTP headers, and, well, it seems like PHP has quite a few vulnerabilities connected to how it handles them.
Yeah, there are a couple that are especially concerning.
Okay, let's hear it.
So there's CVE 2025-1734. This one exploits a quirk in how PHP handles invalid header names. You'd think an invalid header would just trigger an error, right?
Right, makes sense.
But under certain conditions, these invalid headers can actually be used for what's called request smuggling.
Okay, I gotta admit, I'm not super familiar with that one. Break it down for us. What exactly is request smuggling, and why is it so dangerous?
So imagine an attacker wants to inject malicious code into an application. Request smuggling allows them to basically hide that code within a seemingly normal HTTP request.
So it's like sneaking something past security.
Exactly. And if they pull it off, the server might execute that malicious code, completely bypassing any security measures that are in place. It could give an attacker control over the application.
Not good. And then there's CVE 2025-1217, which deals with mishandling folded headers.
Yeah, this one's tricky. It can cause PHP to report incorrect MIME types.
MIM types, those are like the labels that tell the server what kind of content is coming in, right?
Exactly, like whether it's an image, text, whatever.
Okay.
And if those are wrong, it can mess with how the application processes data, which can lead to some really unpredictable and potentially dangerous behavior.
All right, trend number 3 brings us to libxml streams and redirects, specifically CVE 2025-1219. What's the story with this one?
So this one exposes a weakness in how PHP's libxml streams, which are used for XML processing, handle redirects.
Okay.
They basically fail to clear headers properly after a redirect.
Okay, so what happens then?
Well, it can lead to a situation where the wrong content type header is used, which can then cause the data to be parsed incorrectly. And again, this could allow attackers to sneak in malicious content without being detected.
It seems like a recurring theme here is these seemingly small oversights can have major consequences.
It really does, yeah.
Okay, last but not least, we've got trend number 4, new line neglect. CVE 2025-1736, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
This one highlights a problem with a header check in PHP's stream wrapper.
You got it. This one's all about new line character injection.
Okay, and remind me, why are new line characters a problem in this context?
So by injecting new line characters into headers, attackers can mess with how those headers function.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
For example, let's say they inject a new line character into an authorization header. This could prevent that header from being transmitted correctly, which could lead to a denial of service or even unauthorized access.
So looking at all four of these trends, what's the big takeaway here? What do we need to be thinking about moving forward?
I think it boils down to vigilance
Oh,
and really taking a deep dive into not just PHP itself, but all those underlying components it relies on. These vulnerabilities, even though they've been patched, they're kind of a warning sign.
yeah, I see what you mean.
There could be other weaknesses lurking in these same areas.
It's a call to action for all of us in the security world. Code reviews, security audits, we got to get into the nitty-gritty details of how our applications are handling data, because we've seen it firsthand. Overlooking seemingly minor details can have massive security implications.
100%.
So stay vigilant, stay informed, and keep those code bases secure. Thanks for joining us on Vulnvise, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.